All right, hello, and welcome to Off the Record Interviews. And today I am here with the one and only Sami Hinkka from Ensiferum. It's been a while since we've crossed paths, so how are you doing?
I'm doing super, super, super. It's so nice finally get the album out. It's been really long path, and yeah, it's really cool to do a bunch of interviews now and finally talk about the album, especially with people who heard the album. Because of course you can describe stuff and blah, but it's very different than actually when you heard the album and then you can really have a deep conversation about it. Yeah, I have my cats over here harassing me. Yeah, these rascals here. Hello,
Yeah,
world. Hello,
we
world.
we both have this going
Yeah,
on,
this
so
problem. Well, it's a good problem.
it is. You can't really complain about having too many cats
No.
until you have too many cats. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's a cap when it's like too many cats.
I'm gonna say that like four is starting to push the limit.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess. It depends, I guess, if they can go out.
mm,
Living in an
I,
apartment, three is quite, I won't say max, but it's already crowded.
and it starts to get a little dirty. You just start having cat litter everywhere. So
Yeah, and I would say the biggest difference for me was like going from two to three was like suddenly you can't be away from home that long because a litter box and it's gonna be full, the water's gone, the food is gone in completely different rate. I don't know what kind of party they organize here when I'm gone, but yeah, it's really like one night max. And then you need to get people to help with this stuff. But okay, I guess we're not here to talk about pets that much. We could. And yeah, she thinks it's much more interesting topic.
well, she's part of the interview too now. Apparently,
Yeah.
she'll answer some questions and.
All right.
Well, because this is, off the record
Mm-hmm.
interviews, I do like to go back a little bit in time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yep.
gonna start with a little like Ensiferum history and then get a little bit into the new album. So
Yes.
I did actually like want to ask you because I didn't realize before I started doing some research for this interview that there was a version of Ensiferum that didn't have you in it. I always
Yeah.
thought that you guys were like the original four or three, I guess, and then Yari left, but no,
No.
apparently there's this whole like 90s era that I didn't even know about. So,
Yeah. Yeah, of course, it started when the guys were like 50. It was just a bunch of friends, playing covers. And then Mahi came up with, I think Old Man's Melody was the first one. He took to rehearsal room, and that already meant for some people, like, yeah, I'm not going to be in this kind of stuff. And they wanted to do something completely different. And then he got guys with him who wanted to do something very melodic because that was time for melodic metal to bloom, like, yeah, old Amorphis and stuff. And yeah, like the first two albums, it was really like the guys just made music. They played a few shows in Finland, and that's it. I mean, there was nothing. I don't want to say professional in a way, but because of course they did it with heart, and every song they made with like, I'm sure with intentions to become the biggest band in the world, but realistically at that point it was just like, metal bands were like boop, 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 like coming up at that era, like early 2000. Like mushrooms in autumn, like bloop, 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 bloop. And yeah, they were signed to Spine Farm, and yeah, the first album don't even have a steady keyboard player. The keyboard player for first album was Henri Sorvali, aka Trollhorn.
I didn't know that.
Exactly, cool detail. And yeah, then Mayu got in, and yeah, when Iron album was out, things started to get more serious. There was some attention from media, some inquiries for gigs, and I think it was an inquiry for a tour that kind of broke the camel's back, kind of, because Yari already had idea of doing Winter Sun, and he was like, I can't do tours. This is no secret. And I need to emphasize that we're all very good with the old members. The old bass player Jukkis is one of my best friends. And so there's no bad blood. I mean, it's fucking music. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like religion. So you can come and go, you know. And, but yeah, then, of course, Mahi, because Mahi's the founder of the band and heart and soul of the music, he had the ambition. He just couldn't say like, okay, Jari, finish your album and maybe then we go on a tour. He was like, fuck no, there were offers now to go on tour. And that's what he'd been wanting to do. And then Northern was Pete's old band was practicing, rehearsing in the same rehearsal room with Ensiferum, and I think Amorphis was there also in Nosturi. And yeah, I guess Pete was a very obvious choice because he was like around there and he could do harsh vocals, he could do the guitars, and then Mahi and ex-bass player Yukkis just did the clean vocals, and it went from there. So it was one tour they did like that. Stuff happened. Things were getting more serious again, like because if you play in a band that actually tours, it's very different than playing like 10 shows in homeland, during a year. If you're something like, okay, you're gonna be away from home for months, so of course people have different ideas and goals in life. So that also meant like, okay, the lineup changed because you need to have people who are committed to that. And well, since we're like off the record, history thing, how I got into Ensiferum, I think it was 2003 or 4 probably. Yeah, 4.
That's what the Metal Archives told me, at least. So.
Had to be 4, yeah. And I was playing in a Spine Farm band called Rapture, and we were on our way to record the 3rd album, yeah. And I kind of lost the coin toss, like, okay, who's gonna go in a bus and who's gonna squeeze in the Spine Farm small van with all the drums and shit and drive to Savonlinna with one guy called Mahi from Spine Farm. And of course I lost it, and I guess in a way I won it. So I sat in a car with this guy, like, hey, nice to meet you, I'm Sami, hey, I'm Markus. And it's a long way there, so we're just sitting and talking about music. And there were a lot of bands that we both like Dark Tranquillity, Iron Maiden, and all this kind of stuff. And he said, like, yeah, I also have a band. I'm like, yeah, cool. What kind of stuff is it? And he said, yeah, it's folk metal. I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, we just recorded the album. I don't think it was out then, and it was Iron album. So he put it on, and I think we listened to the whole album on our way. I was like, that's fucking good stuff. And yeah, we got to Savonlinna. Next day, the drummer Samu, who used to play in Fintroll also, Small Circles, and he was going to record the drums the next day. So I was like, well, I have a day off tomorrow, so I'm gonna head to bar tonight. And Mahi was like, yeah, I'm not gonna drive all the way back to Helsinki. So he came to bar with me, and we just continued talking bullshit. It was the middle of the week, like Wednesday or something, in a small pub. I don't think there was anyone else. We were just drinking until the end. And passed out in the apartment that the studio was owning at that point. And now when I woke up, Mahi was gone, and I went to record bass lines, and I think it was a matter of weeks or something like that. I got a very drunken call from Mahi that, hey, we might need a bass player for Ensiferum. And it was actually Samu, the drummer from Fintroll, who suggested, hey, yeah, this guy he can play bass. He's not just a pretty face. And yeah, and then I talked with Mahi, so which song should I practice? And he said, all. So I was like, for fuck's sake. I was in school at that point and doing like internship. I was like, for fuck's sake. I remember I was in kindergarten doing like internship. So I was like, I had printed like A4s because, yeah, this is time for smartphones. I have all the lyrics. Of course, I had to learn also the lyrics also. Like reading some, bedtime story for kids so they sleep. And then I start memorizing Ensiferum lyrics. And then went home and started practicing songs. But yeah, then I practiced the first 2 albums. We played a few songs. We went to Corner Bar. It's not there anymore in Helsinki. And got hammered. And next morning, Mahi sent me a message like, yeah. How's the hangover? And by the way, welcome to the band if you still feel like it. The thing is that it's really just like, it's very different when you're kind of on a level 0. When it's just like a bunch of people trying to find the lineup to make music and have fun. Compared to like, yeah, if you're fucking Metallica and start to look for a member, it has to be very, very difficult. I mean, it's completely different stuff. Then you need to have fucking psychologists and everything. These kind of people there, because yeah, then you really talk about like big monies and stuff. That was not the case. That was really just like, yeah, we might have some shows lined up. The band had done 1 tour. And yeah, that's how I joined the band. And yeah, Janne joined like maybe a month or 2 later after me. And yeah, after that, yeah, we just changed the keyboard player a few times. But it is always like, yeah, life goes on. And it's, people's lives change also. So it's insane to have bands like Rammstein where you have the same lineup for like fucking 30-something years, fucking ZZ Top or something. It's amazing, but it's really, yeah, it's pure luck, I would say, that everybody's lives stay that way that you can actually keep it together.
Incredible. Now, you've had, I guess, I was going to say, like, you have the core 4 of you that have been together for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And then the sort of 5th member has been in flux kind of ever since Iron. And so what do you kind of, like, what was the most memorable thing that you remember about, like, Meiju and Emmi and Netta during their times in Ensiferum?
I have only good stuff to say about all these 3 ladies. They were all very different. Well, I consider them all my friends. I don't see them that often, but because life. There's so amazing stories. All these ladies also. Good memories from all the ladies. And yeah, there was a period when we were just playing with 4 of us before we thought like, okay, should we get the 5th member? Because that was also like, that was very easy. Have all the keyboards coming from backing tracks. And because yeah, we, the 4, have been together like, oh yes. Sorry, a cat moment. He's lying next to the bed. Yeah, we've been together now for like over 20 years. So it was really easy to do with just 4 of us. And but then none of us is actually keyboard player. I mean, we can play the chords, but it's like, I can play basic beat rhythm with drums, but I'm absolutely not a drummer. So when you start composing stuff, if you're suddenly lacking someone who's professional with an instrument, the result won't be the same. I mean, if we start to make stuff. So I always say that I'm not a guitar player. I can play guitar, but whenever I do some like raw ideas, I always send it to Mahi and Pete. I say like, okay, just play this as a guitar player would. Because I always say I'm using an axe, and then they come with knives to make it beautiful, like a carpenter.
Yeah, so you're chopping down the tree, and then they're like whittling down the carving.
Yeah, like here's a bunch of wood. I can see there's a chair in here, and then like okay, and then they start making it. Same with the keyboards and these kind of arrangements. We thought that this kind of person would really be good for the band, and most of all, someone who can really sing clean vocals. Because Ensiferum had these varieties since the first album. There has been harsh vocals, clean vocals, and choirs, and these kind of balsagotish spoken parts. They've always been there. So that's actually nothing new. So in a kind of, it's funny now that people are saying, also for Talasi, like, yeah, they're like these high vocals, like they've always been there. It was just, especially on Iron album, Jari started to be a good singer already. On the first album, guys were super young, but they had the will. And I'm really proud that Jari did, screams his lungs out, even though he probably didn't have that much technique then. But because there was the emotion in that this needs to be like sang like, whoa! So he did that. And, but yeah, we were really missing this instrument, like good, clean vocal, because the fact is that me and Mahi were not singers. Yeah, we can produce sound, like, but that's not real singing. And someone who really understands singing. It's once again, it's completely different. You can think about, I can play drums like this, but I don't know how to really play drums. I don't know all the beauty, and I can't come up with cool ideas and elevate raw ideas to 11. And then we did something quite exceptional, and we had this open announcement that if you want to be part of Ensiferum, boom, send us an application. And that was insane, because I played fucking 35 years bass. But I'm not like, there are like guys who are probably 10, 11 who play much better than I ever will, like much more technical guys. And so when we started to get like applications for keyboard and clean vocals around the world, it's like suddenly you get applications from real musicians who play like multiple instruments and like sing like fucking angel, and it's like you should be in like a real band.
Have your own band. Why are you joining us?
Yeah, like no, we're just pulling you down. It was insane. There were multiple people who were like, multi-instrumentalists. They play like folk instruments, and it was really impossible task. It was like several hundred applications, and we checked them all. And but then there was Pekka, which was like very exceptional. And for him, it was very easy to invite him to meet the band and have like rehearsals, because he lived in Finland. And we had very strong feeling about him after his application. But being in a band is not just playing. You can't, of course you can make like a fucking super lineup, but it might not work as a band, because you spend more time with your bandmates than your family and friends, kind of. I mean, bandmates are your friends, but everybody outside the band. So you really need to like each other. And I mean, you don't need to hold hands all the time. And of course, we're all humans, and you can get pissed and blah blah blah, all the scale of emotions. But the very core needs to be that you really like these people, and they're like your brothers in arms, so to say.
Chemistry is important.
Yeah, chemistry, absolutely. Like imagine a tour. If you play like hour and a half of the day, the rest of the time you need to fill with something. And if you're surrounded by assholes, no, that's not very nice. I mean, no. But that was really important too. Well, like I was indoctrinated kind of in the band. It was like we played a few songs and then went to a bar, get hammered, sang some karaoke, and it was same with Pekka. He got to rehearsal room a few times, and we played stuff, and we talked shit a lot, and and here we are. It's life's a journey, and it goes for everybody. But I would say, as long as Mahi is in the band, it's Ensiferum, because he's the founder of the band. He's the main composer. He's been the main composer always. Rest of us are replaceable.
Well, so
I don't know if I answered any of your questions. Sorry, I always end up talking way too.
You kind of half answered like most of my next like 6 questions. So good enough.
Well, let's check them through.
But Yeah, I think like there was just one more little old nugget that I found in there, which was back in 2008. There was a tour where Pete got sick, and you had to be the singer, and I was curious just how that
Yeah.
had gone and how you enjoyed being frontman and vocalist.
It was actually just, was it 2 shows in Russia?
Yeah.
No, it was not like a real tour, because of a tour, absolutely not. But it was just these 2 gigs. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, well, world is as it is. But yeah, it really used to be the thing that we went to Russia like even maybe not every year, but more than every 2 years. It was really cool to. There was a really, well, I guess they still have a very strong metal community there, and it was always nice to go there, especially alcohol and this kind of stuff, and really really cool fan base. And yeah, we just did not want to cancel these shows. It was really like, we can't do that because the next time will be like fucking 2 years or whatever, and there were other plans lined up. But like, if we cancel it now, it's really gonna suck. And then the old bass player Yukkis, he's a guitar player also. He's one of these fuckers who's like multi-instrument. I'm sorry, there's like cat hair in front of the camera.
And cat purring. That's fine. Your cat's only just a little bit louder than mine. So.
Yeah, please tell if actually the purring starts to come through too much. And we didn't want to cancel the shows. Yukkis came and practiced Pete's guitar stuff, kinda. Well, yeah, he's a guitar player, but of course he's not like this kind of guitar player. But he did a really good job. And he seems to be the all-around guy, because there have been a few shows that I couldn't do during all these years. And then Yukkis came and practiced a few new songs, and then he played bass. So jack of all trades. Yeah, we've been laughing about it. So what day? When will come the day that he needs to practice the drum section? And me. Yes, yes, that's me, human. But yeah, it was a nice experience. I really love playing live, and there's always a bit of excitement. Of course, that's natural before the show, because you're like getting in the mood. And I mean, you could play Wacken, you might have 50, 80,000 people in front of you, and they'll be all chanting for your band. But if you play shitty show, then it's nah. So there's always the responsibility also to play good shows. And I don't think I've ever been that nervous that I was for the first show in Russia. I wasn't gonna throw up, but it was really like, okay, I never had this much butterflies in my stomach, so to say. Well, luckily alcohol helped. Those were the days. Yeah, nowadays I don't drink before the show. Helsinki shows are a bit different. That's more. I have veto right for Helsinki shows that I can have few drinks. Too many friends and family here, so you end up usually drinking a few drinks before the show, but not too much. Nothing like it was before. Nothing.
Well, we were talking a little bit about like how Pekka came into the band, so it seems like a good way to steer into some more of these questions, because I noticed that even just from the first 2 singles, it seems like he's gotten a lot more input, perhaps, or you've been able to like play around with his voice and his sound a bit more, because I was surprised even in some moments. I was like, man, he sounds like Matthias Nygård in this moment, and I love a good Torises flashback, right? So,
Nice.
So I think last time when we talked about Thalassic, you were saying that he had kind of come in a little bit at the end, so he didn't get to have a lot of input then. So did he get to do his thing more this time, and was there anything that he did that just totally threw you guys off or like really surprised you?
You have really good memory. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Pekka joined when Thalassic was like 99% composed already. And of course, it would have been a completely different album without him. Absolutely. And so he added a lot of his, like I said, he's a professional singer. But already then, when we were recording that album, and we were talking like, okay, for the next album, we need to utilize much more of his vocal range, because he's a really good singer. He don't even consider himself as a power metal singer, even though he used to sing like Manowar cover band, and he can do stuff, but that's not like how he identifies as a singer. And for this album, it was really like, okay, let's try different stuff. And actually now the second single, Long Cold Winter of Sorrow and Strife, for fuck's sake, what a long name. Sorry for that. And that was really something. I think I wasn't in the studio when they recorded the vocals for the chorus. And there was like, I think I came like in the evening. They've been recording like the whole day or something. And I think I got some messages like, now we nailed it. That's a really good twist. And I was like, okay, I'm very curious. And then I went to the studio. I was like, what the fuck? This sounds like James Hetfield-ish. And I was like, that perfect, because we tried harsh vocals. We even tried choir, and when we recorded the demos, and I think we tried like that long cold winter, like high stuff, but because the song is so heavy, I mean, it's still kind of slow and massive. It felt like you had this song and then you just glue the vocals on top. It just didn't fit. So I was really curious when I went to studio, and when I heard it, I was like, fuck, that's it. That's so good. And that's what I mean. Like when you have a professional playing their instrument and coming up with ideas what they can do with their instrument. It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing as a composer to have musicians around you who are much better than you, who master their instrument, and you can just write stuff like raw ideas. Like, I had this idea, and then they come like, actually, if we change this bit, and if I do like that, and boom, the original idea is still there, but it's just exploded to something much more better. It happened with the song Fatherland that mostly I wrote. Of course, I send like raw idea to guys, and then we check stuff in rehearsal, so it's kind of stupid to say I wrote it, but most of the raw ideas came from me. And like the raw demo that I made, it was very more artistic. Like there were like weird part. Well, I've been referring to like Blind Guardian when they're most artistic stuff. It was really like something like this. And then guys just, when they actually started playing the guitars and Janne really started to bounce the drums, it was obvious, okay, this needs to be more straightforward because it's so aggressive song suddenly. So we cut down some weird stuff from there and make it much more straightforward. And that's the beauty in the way of Ensiferum is composing. Like everybody is involved in the and we have. I think I always mention that we have a policy that everything needs to be tried, no matter how crazy the idea. It can be very funny and very stupid every now and then. Like if someone says we tried this in reggae, everybody will watch like, okay, and then we try this in a style of reggae. Because that's like the holy promise we made, that every idea has to be tried at least once. Because you never know. Sometimes, if you add speed or make it slower, like,
sometimes you do a spaghetti western disco song and it ends up being one of the best songs you've ever made. So.
Yeah, exactly. But that's something that didn't happen on this album. There are no drinking, so no happy joy stuff. Yeah, it's the cat here again. It's because it was composed mostly during COVID time, and that was not very happy phase in anyone's life.
Understandable. Well, now that we've looked back a little bit, so we can get a little more into Winter Storm now. And one of the first things that I kind of noticed, again, on those two singles, was like a little bit more of that hint of power metal creeping through. And at first I was wondering, like, where does that come from? Didn't, like, Kiowas just did this new album and they had a little bit of power metal sneaking into, like, from the anchorage. And then I started to think, wait a minute, aren't Sami and Mikko in that kind of power metal band together? Is that where this hint of power metal is coming from? Or is it actually just because Pekka sounds so damn good when he does it?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so easy. I mean, rest in peace, but like if you had Aleksi Laiho in a band, it would have been funny to say, like, can you do a solo in the style of B.B. King? When you have like the fucking most badass shredder in the band. So that's what I mean. It was so easy to think, even on Winterstorm, that all vocal lines for Pekka would be like this high and loud. But I'm really happy that we really intentionally tried different styles. Now that we had time, that we didn't have that much for Thalassic. And yeah, we could even like change the key where the song is going, depending what would sound good for the clean vocals. But yeah, well, I think Q was also had a bit of this power metal thing because Ilya is such a good singer also. Like Warrior Soul and stuff like that. That's borderline power metal. Kinda. Well, I always loved power metal. And me and Mikko, yeah, we're in Metal de Facto. We're actually, working on the third album now. Shameless advertising. And, but yeah, that was also like, are you gonna show your ass to the camera? No. You know the cats. It's always the same thing. Yeah, it's not something that we are aiming for. That we want to be a power metal band. Absolutely not. But it's also no secret that I think all the members have a love for power metal. So it's natural that these elements might sneak in there. But it's not really like intentional. Okay, let's make a power metal song. Like, nah. It happens. We make song, and then it's like, okay, let's think about the vocals before we go any further.
Well, one thing I've always liked about you guys is that you, at least, like, I don't know, what goes on behind the screen or anything, but you at least give off the impression of being one of these bands that, like, everyone has to be having fun first and foremost, or else it doesn't work. Like, you look like on stage you're having fun. Like, there's a lot of stuff in your music that sounds like you don't take yourselves too seriously, often in like the covers and stuff, but even in the regular music, like Two of Spades again is just like such a goofy, ridiculous, amazing song.
Yeah. I had so many people said to me during all these years, like, you guys could be so much bigger if you just give people what they want to hear, aka like making Lila Hayes from morning till night. It's like, nah, we have some drinking song, and there are bands who make really good party music. I mean, and it's part of us also. But if some song feels good to us, if it's good to us, then we'll release it. It's simple as that. And yeah, then you end up having like fucking disco part in in a folk metal song. Yeah,
I love that though. That's like
that's
all the music keeps it interesting.
Yeah, and that's what many people also say. That's why we are special, because we're not trying to follow like, okay, this is the way we should do music. And now I need to emphasize there's no right or wrong way to make music. There's nothing wrong if you found your style to follow that. Come on, like AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Motorhead. If they would have suddenly do some Eurodance or whatever R&B stuff, it wouldn't have worked. So if you found your way, go for it. I mean, music is not, I can't say too serious, but in a way, yeah, it's not that serious. It's still, you're making sound that probably comes from some emotion, and it might resonate in other people's hearts and souls. Like, don't overthink it either. Do what feels good, and if you feel like doing like basic blues the rest of our life, fucking do it. If you get your kicks out of that, yes. But we are such fucking weirdos that we like to fool around and and. But yeah, that's also for some people. It's if they heard like one song from us, it might be really like a shock. Like, what the fuck is this? If they hear another song. But yeah, then again, it's not a religion or anything like that. If you have one song that you like from us, listen to that. You do not have to listen to any other stuff. If you don't like the new stuff, we're not gonna come there and punch you in the dick. No, you need to listen to our music. Like, don't listen to it then. Simple as that.
That is really like a good point that, the fan culture online these days gets pretty like out of control a lot of the time, and there's so many expectations, and that's something I've never really understood, is having expectations from art. That like whatever I'm getting from a musician is going to be a reflection of who that person is at a certain point in their time and life, and whatever they feel inspired by. That has nothing to do with me as the listener, as the fan. I'm just here to hear what you've got to give me, and if that doesn't resonate with me this time around, then it doesn't, and that's not the end of the world. There's a lot of other bands out there that I can listen to. And then next album you put out, I'm still probably going to give it a chance if I've liked your previous stuff, and maybe you have high points and low points for me, but in the end, like, art is art. It's not like tailor-made for me.
Yeah, you said it very well. I mean, I can sign every word you just said. I'm a huge fan of Nightwish. I've been a fan since the fucking first singles and seen the band first time in '90s. But yeah, the latest stuff, of course, I haven't heard the new album yet. I've been keeping that. I have a few albums that, even Winter Sun, I haven't heard that yet. I'm still waiting for that. I literally have like a few hours. I can put them in my headphones and go for a long walk and no distractions at all. That's how I really listen to music. And but yeah, like Nightwish, I have completely different kind of relationship with the old stuff. Like Once album, for example. That will always be one of the best albums in my life. And it doesn't mean that I dislike the new stuff, but it just maybe, like I said, I haven't heard the new Nightwish yet. But like the one before, it did not resonate. Yeah, that's what everybody keeps saying. But like the previous one, it did not resonate on the same level with me. And it just, that's also something that it's, you might hear some album at a certain point of your life and it's perfect for that. And you grow and the musicians grow in a different direction. Different shit happens in their life. And then they make music that resonates for them. But you might be probably, woohoo, here. And what they release is like, nah. And then time passes again and they do something and boom, then it hits again. That's why
that's just art, baby.
Yeah. But then again, it's so cool to have bands like fucking AC/DC, Helicopters. You can trust that they will always deliver good stuff.
Sabaton, war metal.
Yeah, I mean,
always sounds the same, but is always pretty fun. Like
yeah, and that's perfect. There's definitely need for that kind of stuff also.
Well, you do a lot of lyric writing, I think, right?
I think I did most since I joined the band, because I was the geek who read the most. Unfortunately, I haven't read that much in the last years. That's really fucking sad. Something I really miss.
Also a problem that I've been having.
Yeah.
But when it comes to writing lyrics, do you ever get hit by like that bad writer's block? Does that ever throw you off? Or do you usually always have something to work with?
Winter Storm was the most difficult album I ever written lyrics. I was literally blocked for years. Because, let's say that was like 4 years that we wrote the album. I would say the first 2 years, well, yeah, Mahi had the idea to make an album with one song originally, like having same
Like
parts
Winter's
coming.
Gate Insomnium sort of
Yeah,
one song? Or...
like this shit, like Moon Sorrow to the max, having same parts coming here and there in different styles. And I'm like, Mahi, what the fuck would I write? Like, do you have a story for this? Yeah, if you have a raw story, then I can write. He was like, no. I'm like, and that's the craziest idea ever. I mean, and then everybody else in the band was like, that's too far out. But I like Mahi's ambition here, really. But what was cool about this, because all the raw songs were composed with the mentality that they would be like one big pile of shit. So when we started cutting them and joining parts together and making them like individual songs, what stayed was kind of this undertone that it kind of cut out from the same wood, the way I see it. There's not like suddenly like a song that really like jumps out. It's really consistent album in my opinion, because of this. But yeah, I tried so many stuff about the lyrics when I was listening to raw ideas, and everything felt like there's a song and you just try to glue something on top of it. They did not match. And I was actually quite desperate at some point because I was doing day job and other fucking responsibilities, and then you guys started to be like, hey, we can't really progress until we have lyrics and raw vocals, because that also affects when you compose stuff. When you get the vocals finally there, and of course things change then also. So there was a lot of pressure, which is understandable because everybody wants the album to get ready at some point. But I don't remember the exact moment, but it was really like thinking outside the box for a weird 1 second. Because I've been thinking about writing a book for over 10 years, fantasy book. And but the thing is that I never thought that these two worlds would collide, like the book and Ensiferum. It was always like just a big story building in my head. I wrote some passages and tried different writing techniques or whatever, like different perspective and blah blah blah. And then I started to listen to raw demos from this point of view, like, hey, could this be actually from like some fragments, some character from this story, could this fit? And I'm like, fuck, this would work. How about this raw idea? Oh, this would work. And it was like, oh, everything started to match. And then I introduced the idea to guys. Well, they've been trusting my weird ideas so far. And so I guess at that point they were just happy that, bring up lyrics. Just bring lyrics and let's start doing vocal demos and so on. And of course, then the story a bit changed the music and like the order of the songs on the album. And but it was not easy. Absolutely not. And it was still not like Nightwish. Tuomas has a story he wants to tell. He starts composing that. So that made it even harder because we had very raw songs that of course they changed and modified million times, that you need to start thinking from the perspective of a story, like which small fragment of this big story would fit this song. And it really ended up, it's just actually just introducing few characters. And the whole book will really stretch throughout generations, so it might be fucking long. So I hope I have time to write that before I die. So, but on this album, it's really this much of the big story. So, like the song "Victorious," it ends the album, and but that's not the final battle of the book. Even it's just one battle with two weird factions. So it's not revealing, absolutely not revealing, kind of anything from the book, but still something. This also puts pressure on me now because I had the idea that I will start writing, really properly write in 5 years or something like that, when things are a bit more calm and maybe I could quit my day job, and I really would have, just have shit tons of tours, and when I'm home, I could just write. But now there's a lot of pressure now.
Mm. No, that's interesting. I love that, and I had no idea that this was kind of taken from just like fantasy writing project of yours, and I think that's really cool. It's funny too. Again, like just talking about art in general, like the way that like I have a fantasy story that I've been writing since 2008, and I'm releasing the first piece of it on October 4th, and there is actually a chunk of that story that isn't, I don't know when it's going to be included, but it was entirely based off of Smoking Ruins. That just I
Awesome.
heard that song and it gave such like this vivid like image in my mind that I
Yeah.
was like, that has to be like a story that I need to write
Yeah.
just somehow. And I love the way that like art kind of ping pongs off itself in that
Yeah.
sense, that like something, you just find the right thing that inspires the right moment,
Yeah.
and then suddenly like that writer's block will just and
Yeah.
it starts to come really easily again. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It is. It is. And just like 2 days ago, I was having fucking dinner with family and having some wine and so on. And then in the middle of fucking dinner, I got like idea like, yes, that's how this will go in this story. Like it also might hit you in the middle of nothing. And I was like, okay, I need to memorize this because I just couldn't go and okay, I need to go start writing.
I
But yeah,
love that. I think that's the best part of art.
yes, yeah. But yeah, I need to write it at some point. At least get it started. Maybe do like small parts because maybe it's too ambitious to write everything at one go. Let's see. Like I said, if there's suddenly time and place, things might just come out very fast. Also, but of course, you need to write multiple versions. So I mean, you need to double check shit. And let's see.
I look forward to the Ensiferum novel whenever it comes out.
Yeah, but I have to say this is like I'm gonna put like absolute no. This story will never continue in Ensiferum albums again because no, Ensiferum is not to be narrowed down to
Mhm.
be
That makes
adapted
sense.
music for a book. It
Hey,
just
I mean, Tuomas Holopainen wrote The Life and Times of Scrooge, which was basically a soundtrack to a book, and that was
yeah,
great. So, you
that
know,
was good.
you never
Yeah.
know.
You, yeah, never say never, but at the
Mm.
moment I'm very strict in my head that no. And the fact that we're already working with the next album, the songs are completely different. So that would not even fit this kind of movie-like thing. And yeah, that's really cool thing. I need to tell that it'll be like 4 music videos. I always hated making music videos. I never enjoyed it because we're not Rammstein. We don't have a budget to make stuff that I would love. But well, you've seen the first one now, I guess. And now it's a lyric video. So 3 more videos coming out, and you can watch them in a row, and it's gonna be like short movie.
Cool.
So that's like, I really like that. Finally, there's like a purpose for every video. Yeah, I've seen the second one. It's the idea was when I wrote the script and sent it to Marcin, this guy who made the videos. Of course, he modified it and he was like holding me down a bit. Like, yeah, I understand we don't have the budget of Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I know, but let's do what we can. And but he said like the goal is that every video is better than the previous one. So I really like this ambition that he has, and I hope this guy gets a recognition that he fucking deserves, and all the actors. It's amazing. But yeah, the second video will be out around when the album is coming out. I guess I can say that much. But the 2 others will be out a bit later, which is also nice because kind of how the lifespan of an album. So it's not like you write the music for years and then you have to release and boom, that's it. So to kind of keep it more interesting for at least a bit longer while.
Incredible. Well, I'm running out of time. I could keep talking to you for like 3 more hours, but I know you have other
Me
interviews
too.
to do.
Yeah,
So.
we need to continue like off camera and have just a bottle of wine and some shit. And yeah,
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to your fancy novel.
Hey, I'll send it to you. But
Please.
to wrap this up, so I don't take any time from anyone else, I don't like to do the any last words things anymore because everyone asks that and nobody knows how to answer. So I'm going to give you a harder question, which is,
Ooh.
if you've learned anything about yourself or about life through your journey as a musician or an artist, what would you like? What lesson would you pass on to other people to make the world a better place?
Well, I think, fuck, it's just platitudes, I guess. But the thing is that many of the cliches are true. Well, one thing that you learn the older you get, and well, I've been very lucky. I had 2 professions that I really love. I was working in social healthcare in like hundreds of places, and then music. I've been privileged to travel around the world, meet so great people in both of these fields. But one thing I learned that not everybody will be there with you the whole journey, on professional and also personal life. And it doesn't mean that necessarily anything bad needs to happen, but it's just, life paths go in different directions. So when you're surrounded by good people, cherish them. Good moments. If you have a good conversation, dive into it. Like, give something out of yourself, because then that moment and that chance is gone, and you don't know if you ever get it again. Probably not, because every moment is unique, and then you just fucking die. So I guess that kind of hippie-ish, Zen Buddhist living in the moment, I guess that would be really good for everybody without any religious stuff. Well, Buddhism is not really religion in that way, but
more philosophy, I guess.
Yeah, but the point being is like be present for people. And I mean, when they're there, of course, you don't need to be a fucking robot. So this, once again, not very black and white. You can say like, fuck no, I don't have energy for this, and then just go home and mope. But overall, that's what I would say. Like, be present to people.
Love
be
that.
There.
Well, I'll let you go now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hit me up if you want to continue this conversation another time.
Yes, absolutely. Some wine and cheese, and we'll continue there.
We can do a part 2. That's no problem. Surrounded by more cats next time as well, ideally.
Yes. So, I don't know if we have these cat cafes in Finland.
You do. There's actually one down in Helsinki somewhere. So
we can do it there.
There we go.
Fantastic.
All right.
I really need to run, but thank you so much, and we'll continue from this.
Absolutely. Take it easy and happy album release.
Thank you. Ta-ta.